Forget Obama. Strong tie, weak tie, Jose. You get the last word.
Well, I mean, I think there's a difference between campaigning and governing. I mean, I think that in
and that was my point.
Yeah, there's a
weak
big
tie is a great campaign tool. Strong tie necessary.
Which is why
governing tool.
Obama, in many ways, was the first startup presidency, right? I mean, in many ways, coming to Facebook tomorrow is kind of a coming home for him, right? He was elected because of this Facebook.
He's the best
generation.
campaigner, whether
but he has never really figured out how do you govern with Facebook? How do you do that? How do you build consensus?
It's not a governing medium. By the way, Ron Paul's campaign in 2008 is important to look at.
That's
he had a
true.
huge internet presence, but he failed to convert that presence into votes.
Right.
Yeah.
That out of nowhere yesterday, I don't even know how he got our number, honestly, but Ron Paul just called into the show at the beginning of the show yesterday. I don't know, I think one of our producers gave him the number. I don't know. But one thing that he suggested, Henry, was that tax code should be directed at businesses that make money because of the government. So if you're a drug company who makes profits because you sell drugs and no-bid contracts to the government, that should have a higher tax rate than Jimmy Williams, who's selling antiques in the mid-Atlantic region of America. If you are a military contractor and you make your money in that environment, it's one thing. It's another thing if you're Susan Del Percio, who charges salting fee to individuals and has to pay her taxes. Is that a rational way to think about the tax code, about how you make your money?
It's certainly something that a lot of people who are not contracting with the government, I'm sure, would instinctively support. I think the answer, again, is that it's got to be everywhere. All companies have to pay it. And the GE example is great, and I think GE was actually unfairly characterized with their 1 year where they're not paying taxes. But the fact that if you can afford a huge tax department, you ultimately pay almost nothing. There should be a way to simplify that. I don't think you need to direct it just at companies that are soaking off the government, but certainly, again, that would be popular.
Good politics, right? Go ahead, Karen.
Very good politics, Dylan. Yeah. You know, you might want to run for office.
Well, that's Ron Paul. I think he might.
Bill talks about the Republican Party as though it's in a monolith or an elite. The Republican Party is going to put down the directive that nobody can talk about this or that. We don't want that. We want a robust debate. Frankly, I'd love Ron Paul in there with his views on foreign policy. I'd love to see Sarah Palin with her views on right to life and social conservative. I got no problem with Donald Trump. If he wants to raise that issue or any issue, let the voters decide, for heaven's sake, instead of the party, here's what you must do. And Karl Rove telling us the positions we must take. I don't care what it is.
All right. Pat's very clear on the record. You coming back in, Pat?
I'm thinking of it.
All right. Okay.
I want to see your birth certificate right now.
I got it. Providence Hospital, Bill.
All right. MSNBC political analyst and possible future candidate, Pat Buchanan.